Hello everybody, my name is Scatter. Welcome back to Divine Journey 2. Last time we got our first bit of Terra Steel, and today we're going to build the Elven Elfheim portal. So it's pretty easy to make with the things we have now. So we just need one Elven gateway core, and that's going to take 4 of these glimmering living wood and a whole ingot of Terra Steel in total, plus 2, so 3 in total, sorry, for that. And then glimmering living wood, I need 3 of those for the portal itself, so they are an ingredient in the gateway core, plus 3 for the portals themselves, and then also 2 natura pylons. Okay, and this is going to be how we sort of feed the thing. So I need to get some more aerogel again, and I need a few mana diamonds, which I need 1 more for that. So let's just make at least 1 mana diamond, which we may not even be able to do with the mana that's in here currently. No, well, we can make at least 1. There we go, that's enough. Throw that back in. So I'll just go grab some more aerogel and get this auto craft kicked off. Okay, so while all of that crafts up, which shouldn't take too long, let's talk about what's going on here. So the Rosa Arcana has been working out very well. I did confirm that when the mana pool fills up and everything gets backed up, the XP stops flowing, so that's good. We're not wasting anything. But because this one mana spreader is now completely saturated, now we could make more mana spreaders and like have the endo flames tied to them. But I feel like if we do that, then we'll be better off having more Rosa Arcanas, because those are pretty cheap too, and they just make way more. They're enough to saturate a mana spreader all on their own, which basically means that the endo flames can just completely be rid of this situation, and this whole dispenser setup, or dropper setup, excuse me, is taking up a lot of sort of space here that is just totally not at all necessary to be taken up, because the Rosa Arcana is better, and all that setup needs is this little sort of much more compact setup here. So let me just get rid of all this and clear up this space a little bit. Okay, that has cleared up everything quite a bit, and I think it may be a smart idea to get a couple more mana spreaders set up. However, what I'm also thinking is, if I'm soon going to have better mana spreaders, it may be better to wait until then, because if we go ahead and look at mana spreader in here, the Elven mana spreader is coming up pretty soon. All we need for that is a Rune of Lust, which is just some stuff from the portal, and some Dreamwood, which again, you just trade living wood for. So that's going to be pretty okay. Right now, our only scaling option is more mana spreaders. I guess, I mean, it's probably true that we're going to need some more mana spreaders at some point anyway. So it may be better to just do that. But like, it's even with the fast flower and the saturated mana spreader, it's still pretty slow, which is why I'm thinking it is going to be better just to have sort of multiple of these setups. But am I auto-crafting mana spreaders currently? I mean, yes, I am, which is good, but I do have just one sitting around as well. And now again, the flowers can only be linked to 1 at a time, so it's not like I can do, like, just have another mana spreader here, you know what I mean? And then we can output the mana from this flower to multiple spreaders. It doesn't work that way. But if we did get another Rosa Arcana setup, then that would work just fine. But I don't know if I want to do that. You know what? Might as well. First, however, let's just get the portal built. We're not going to quite be able to light it yet, but I would just like to kind of get it out of the way before moving on here. And I do need a little bit more living wood. But yeah, so here's how this works, right? So you build the portal, and we can pretty much build it anywhere. I am just going to go ahead and build it right here. And I'll like embed it into the floor, because that seems like a solid way to do it. So you just put the Elven gateway core down here, and then mostly just kind of living wood on the sides, on the sort of centers of the sides like this. You will put more this glimmering living wood, and then you just kind of want it that way, and then we can remove this one. So to power the portal, and it doesn't need power to stay open, it just needs power to open for the first time, and a very little amount of power to do the trades, we need mana, right? And the way that the mana gets fed here is it takes some mana pools, right? And we could just reuse that one, but something tells me that's not a great idea. And we just put the nature of pylons right on top. Okay, so these pylons are what tells the portal to use the mana from these in order to sort of power it, right? So that I think makes sense. It takes a quarter of the mana, filling a mana pool, so 250,000, in order to turn the portal on. So we got almost enough there. And to transfer the mana, well, we could use a mana tablet normally, but if you look at the quest line, that doesn't come until a little bit later here, so we can't actually use that. Sparks, I think there are augments that specifically tell them to pull and push mana, and not just like, you know, when they know they need it. However, that is also requires having the portal lit first. So I think pretty much our only option is going to be a mana spreader. Or of course we could just, you know, redirect this one to them. Can you? That's probably a little bit too far away. Yeah, I think that maybe that's just because this is like in the way. But anyway, this is definitely something we can do, right? So that's filling up. And it does pull from these equally, but they don't need to both be full or anything like that. But we'll just let that sort of transfer as it does and wait until this one fills up enough to light up the portal. Okay, just to maybe try and speed this up a little bit, I reconfigured it slightly and I moved this one closer. I'm not going to move this one because you do lose the mana in a mana pool when they break. But I was noticing this was filling up faster than it was draining, which you really shouldn't get. If it's being fed by one saturated mana spreader and you're getting two saturated mana spreaders outputting, then this should be a loss, right? I don't see how that's physically possible for it not to be the case, but it seemed to be. And then I remembered that there was a little bit of loss with mana spreaders, right? The longer distance, the less mana they do. And it does seem to be the case that the beam is thinner here with this longer trip than it is here. And then the book says something about a sparkle showing where the mana loss happens. But I mean, is it just me or is there sparkling just all along this? So I really don't understand what's going on there. But I think the shorter distance should make the transfer rate faster. And the range of the portal is, it says 11 by 11. So this is 5 away. So like that should work. This is probably right on the border. I hope so anyway. I don't want to have to move this again. But okay. I mean, I guess I could just move the portal. But maybe that would be annoying as well. Anyway, so now, yeah, so it is draining now, which makes sense. So this is draining out exactly as fast as this is putting in. And then we're getting a little bit of extra out here as well. So it shouldn't be too long before we have enough mana in here so we can light up the portal, which is exciting. All right, I think this is going to do it for mana, assuming this one is in range of the portal, which I believe it should be. So yeah, this one's a quarter. This one's, you know, almost a quarter, like 2/3 of a quarter. What would that be? 1/6? Sure, yeah. 1/6. 1/6 is 2/3 of a quarter? Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, yeah. Anyway, the reason I took the pylons off of the mana pools was because it didn't seem like they were filling up, and I thought maybe it was like draining the mana from them slowly, and I was worried that maybe if it did that, it would just kind of fizzle out instead of actually fueling the opening of the portal. But let's throw that on, and we can see, is it draining? It is not. Oh, there we go. Okay. There we go. Yeah, they're both draining. We're all good here. We're all good. I think we want bind mode for that like it was in before. Yeah, so the portal is open, and it does drain mana as well for trades, but very little, I'm told. And it says the first thing we want to do is trade in the book. And there we go. We got the upgraded book, which is very nice. Nice that that works in the Akashic Tome too. Honestly, I should have taken it out first just in case, but now I know that it works. And then in the hotbar here, I have just a bunch of stuff that we can also trade in for various goodies from Alfheim. Now, like I mentioned before, there's actually no dimension here. It's pretty much just a crafting machine. But Yeah, let's see. So we have like an eighth there, almost a quarter there. And let's try throwing in all of this mana steel. And we have... okay, so it drained basically nothing. So I think we're good. Now, I don't know if the other trades are going to take more, right? I'll keep an eye on it, but I think we should be good. And I'll probably just keep this set up for the mana because like this will fill up, this will fill up, this will fill up, then this will fill up. You know, it'll all get backed up and that's fine. And we can just get more flowers as well. Oh, that's interesting. Look, it hides like entities and stuff, I guess. Like you can see the dark glass over there gets hidden through this. So I guess that's like some kind of rendering issue, which is pretty cool. Let's send the mana diamonds through, get some dragon stones back out. Living wood, you go through, you get dream wood, and this is how you get the upgraded spreaders as well. So that's definitely going to be priority number 1, but we need a new rune for that as well. Mana glass, you get some alpha glass out, which is not the most super useful thing, but it is used for some things. Files from Thaumcraft among them, which is something that we're going to get into pretty soon here, which is cool. And then living matter goes in and you get, what is this called? Dream matter out. And this is one of the more useful things, I think. It's at least used for a lot of the tier 2 runes. Okay, so there's the quest for Elven trading, which is neat. And we get our choice of reward there. I think I'll take the mana diamonds. So that opens up how many quests here? 10. That opens up, 9 quests, which is a huge number of quests. But I think the most important thing, well, we get the wireless crafting terminal, which is crazy. That is going to be insane. I know you need range upgrades for it to be really super worth it. But yeah, that's not even super hard to make. That's just insane that we can do that now. I think the runes are going to be the biggest thing. So I'll make patterns for all of these, load them into the machine, and get crafting. Now I am going to have to replace the mana spreader here as well because I repurposed one of these, but that's all fine. Okay, there's all the patterns for the tier 3 runes. I made sure to put the living rock in instead of the runic altar, which does get pulled into the crafting recipe every time. So they should all be good. The tier 3 runes, so there's 4 tier 1s and 4 tier... There's 4 tier 1s, fire, water, air, and earth. And then the 4 tier 2s are each double combination of those. So there's 4 of each. The tier 2s are a combination... the tier 3s are a combination each of a tier 1 and a tier 2. And it looks like there's only 8 of them, even though there are 16 combinations. And they're named after the 7 deadly sins, and then just this one is the rune of deception. So none of that, matters in the grand scheme of things, but it's pretty neat. So we'll throw all those into the grid. Fills out almost a whole other row. And it does just want us to make 1 of each, so I guess I will just go ahead and do that. I'll make a new mana spreader first, though. What am I missing for that? As long as it's not aerogel, it's fine. Okay, just living wood. I can throw all of this in there so we have access to it. Make a little bit more living wood. And in fact, I think I'm going to have to set up a farming station for wood that is workable for living wood, because I have a stack of this wildwood log left, but other than that, I don't really have any left. It is really annoying. I don't really see the benefit, because by the time you can make this stuff, by the time you have a pure daisy, you're going to have access to a bunch of this wood. So really you're only making it annoying by restricting it to certain logs. That just isn't a gameplay thing. For me, it's just kind of tedious. Now I have to go put another tree. It's not going to take a long time. I literally just have to grab a sapling, put it in here, and then put them in a drawer. It's fine. It's just a tiny bit of extra work that doesn't really affect anything. Also, I finally looked into the creeper statue, which I assume you just get from killing creepers sometimes. But you just right click it and it makes an explosion. So I put a mechanical user on a timer here. Thankfully, the explosion doesn't delete blocks or anything. This isn't a claim chunk. This is just how this works. And you just put activate block with item, and it's on redstone pulse. and this will just explode all the time. And you can use that to craft hyper diamonds, which is going to be how we auto craft those. I just don't have it set up yet, obviously. And then also I was playing around with crafting sun crystals. So this is basically showing the damage of the item of the entity that goes in front of it. So if we do craft a sun crystal, and I'll go ahead and sleep so we can sort of see how this works. It starts with full damage and then it counts down to 0. So we can use this to automate making sun crystals, because we can just output the sun crystals, the empty ones, and then have a picker-upper on the other end that only picks up if damage is equal to 0. And you can see as it charges up, the damage is going down to 0. And once it's fully charged, it will be equal to 0. So that's a pretty handy way to automate the sun crystals. Once again, I just don't have an interface hooked up to it or anything, but you know, I haven't really super needed to. You need them for, you know, powered spawners use both of those things a lot. But other than that, they seem to be pretty fine. In any case, let's set the auto crafting off for the tier 3 runes. Something else that's sort of adjacent to what we're doing here, if you take a look at the quest book, in order to kind of move down here towards the Fey Crafter, or the Runic Crafter, sorry, the Runic Crafter is the automated version. The Ring of Magnetization, for some reason, is sort of along the way. Now, I don't think it actually blocks it off, right? Like, it just kind of, that's like the layout, which is a little bit weird, but like, I get it. Anyway, it's here, and I figured, you know, if it's a good enough magnet, you know, magnets are really popular, maybe they're worth making. So I figured I would go ahead and make it. So I've taught the system how to auto craft sort of everything in between here to go ahead and make the magnet. And see, I'm probably not going to use this one, but the ring that's coming up, the quest book calls it much better. So we're going to see what that's all about. And maybe I will think that it's really good. Maybe it sucks and I won't use it. But, you know, it happens. Not going to be super mad about it if that happens. Now, we still haven't made any of these because, you know, I was kind of waiting on some crafts, but that's okay. What I am going to do is make another Rosa Arcana, because that's going to double our mana output. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I think what I should do before I do that is upgrade the mana spreader just to see. Well, no, either way, I mean, if I have to make another mana spreader for it, either way, a second flower is going to be good. So no matter what, the second flower is a good idea. But I am going to see about upgrading the mana spreader and how good that is actually going to, how much good that's going to do for us. But regardless, a second Rosa Arcana definitely going to be worth it. So let's go ahead and get one of those. Now let's see about upgrading the mana spreader. So I just made one. And so it upgrades into the Elven mana spreader. We need a Rune of Lust before we can do this. So let's see, Rune of Lust. What are we missing here? More arrow gel, I bet. No, just an apprentice blood orb. What needs an apprentice blood orb? Because that's probably just the system not knowing that it can use any type of blood orb. Assuming that it can. I mean, we have a magician blood orb here, so anything you can use that for should work. So let's just try and figure that out here. What are you trying to make? Probably some sort of core. I mean, no, it's already using the magician orb, so maybe that's it. Maybe I just don't have enough orbs to go around, which is fine if that's the case. We can just let this finish up. It's not going to take too terribly long anyway. You know what? No, I'm going to cancel it and then make the Lust one first, simply because that is the one that I have use for sooner, right? That makes enough sense to me. So we'll let that finish up. In the meantime, I am going to get the second one set up with the regular mana spreader, but then we can upgrade it. I think that is a sensible way to go about things. Now I think that I don't actually have to set up a block reader for all of these, right? Because this is going to back up at some point, and then this is going to fill up, and then you're not going to output your stuff anymore. This is close enough range to that it is just sucking up the same XP, and it looks like it is you know, sucking it up fast enough, or at least putting out enough that like they're both staying full. Once this backs up, that's going to back up and then it'll stop. So, you know, that's not going to happen before this backs up. I think it just works with one. And then if I have to, I'll just run a redstone line over here for like another XP shower possibly. But either way, it looks like we are saturating this mana spreader as well. Maybe not quite as much, but it should be almost twice as fast mana generation, which is good. However, upgrading the mana spreaders is definitely pretty high priority here. I noticed we were getting some issues with this auto crafting on the Hellfire Forge. It's because I forgot to change the item transfer rate to 1, because now it's putting out, if it needs like stacks of things or the same thing in 2 things, it's putting out 2 of the glass bottles here. Then this is filling up earlier than it should. And basically we want it to only do 1 item at a time, so we change the item transfer rate to 1. Very, very important part of this setup, and unfortunately one that completely went forgotten by me when I set this up back over here. But now that should be all fine. The only issue is I am holding a set of crafts for this, and now that's not an issue anymore. Cool. All right, we got our first Rune of Lust coming in to the system, which means we can upgrade 1 single mana spreader. Now, call me crazy. I think the best use of the first upgraded mana spreader is going to be right here, the one that transfers mana from the mana pool to the runic altar. Assuming there is an appreciable difference in the speeds of them, I'm just going to put this in my inventory just to make sure that we get the quest. Assuming there is an appreciable difference there, it's going to make crafting the runes much faster, which means not only can we upgrade mana spreaders sooner, we can make all the other runes sooner as well. So let's put that there. Let's make sure to... I really need to make a second wand so that I don't have to keep stealing this one, but I want to make sure that that one can put into there, and we can start a runecraft and say, oh, saying runecraft just kind of triggered my fight or flight for a second. We can craft a rune and then see if it's that much faster. Okay, I would say this is pretty significantly faster. If you look at the sort of clock symbol next to the runic altar on the UI, I mean, I mean, it's hard to judge. It might be around twice as fast. Maybe that's a little generous, but it's pretty damn fast, I gotta say. And like, these are only the tier 1 runes, which I assume require less mana than the higher tiers. But either way, even if it is twice as fast, I mean, twice as fast is good. I'm not complaining, but like, it's, you know, not crazy. It's not like 10 times as fast, but you know, I think it's a pretty solid upgrade here. So let's just see for this higher tier rune. Yeah, I mean, it's going. It's not insane. Like, that's probably about the speed that a tier 1 was before, maybe a little bit faster than that. I think it's a pretty good upgrade. And then the next ones we make, we can upgrade these and then actually upgrade the speed of producing mana, not just using it, which is, of course, going to be good as well. Okay, there's a lot of things in the air right now, which I apologize for. It's probably a little bit hard to keep straight. But something that I'm really noticing now is that we need a lot of aerogel, right? So those are used for the air runes. And then I'm also setting up a gas spawner because you also need gas tiers for those, which we have not had a renewable source of yet. I just happen to have a lot from the nether farm that I had. No longer have the nether farm, but that's okay because we shouldn't need it. But I am going to set up a gas spawner so that we can get those renewing, and we get lots and lots of gas tiers, which is going to be good. And then we can turn that on, and then this is on. Good. So this should be big enough for gas to spawn, I imagine. Wasn't this? No, I had a gas spawner set up before, and this is why I had to raise up the glass, I think, wasn't it? Or was that maybe for the Cyclops? I do remember gas spawning in there. Anyway, let me get back on topic a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I get a void upgrade and some gas tiers into one of these drawers, right? Because I definitely don't want it to be overflowing my drawers and then I have to deal with it at a later time. So that's fine. Something I'm also finding, so the aerogel, right? Aerogel, haven't automated in the ether for several reasons, but we can automate it with mystical agriculture, and we are getting to the point where we can set that up, right? So we got some nature seeds here, which I didn't even realize were here, so I should probably plant those. But one thing we can do is actually go ahead and make ourselves, I think this might be the wrong way around. It's probably this way. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, there we go. So that's going to make us the infusion crystal, and we can use that to the Inferium infusion crystal. We use that to make Prudentium essence. We have tons of this Inferium essence from mob farms. Prudentium essence we can use to craft tier 2 crafting seeds. Tier 2 crafting seeds we can use to craft all of the specific tier 2 crafting seeds. So specifically what we're going to need is going to be fire and saltpeter, right? Which is somewhere here. There we go. So potassium clusters, we're going to need a couple of these tier 2 crafting seeds and some of the essence. So altogether, like, it's pretty easy to make. Don't know how those seeds ended up there. But it looks like they do give us unlimited uses on these infusion crystals, which is good, right? So this technically opens up a lot of chapter 16 here. Once we make our first Prudentium essence, we can make any of these seeds, which is cool. But again, the two we care about are fire and saltpeter so that we can automate aerogel. So I'll make a bunch of those, get them planted, and get that going. Do we have ghasts, or are you actually complaining about space? No, it looks like we have been able to spawn some by the XP orbs down there. Let me just see if we have any more than one ghast here. Yeah, so we are getting those. Probably going to have to let that run a little bit before we get some appreciable amount, but that's okay. It's a lot going on. Okay. Yes. So, mystical agriculture. Good. So the first thing we need to do is turn some of this Inferium essence into Prudentium essence. It's 4-to-1, but we do have 86,000 Inferium essence. Come to think of it, that's probably something that's clogging up my drawers, but that's okay. Not a huge problem. And we do get, in fact, unlimited uses on the crystal, so that's fine. I'll just go ahead and make a few stacks of this right away. Now, the thing we need to, so we need to make some more tier 1 crafting seeds, which we need to make some base crafting seeds, which is just this, so we can just stick a bunch of those. Now we do have a ton of seeds, right? And then prosperity shards. We don't have too many of the actual shards themselves, but we do have a ton of prosperity ore, so we just need to figure out the best way to turn the ore into shards. I imagine it's going to be the pulverizer or some such thing. That can give us 6. Sag mill can give us a little bit of extra cobble, which is obviously not something that I care at all about. Could tectonic initiate it, but we have enough ore. Like, it's not hard to come by. Probably just going to pulverize it because it's a little bit quicker. But we can go ahead and just start some more of these crafting seeds on here. Everything in this mod, it kind of like builds on itself, you know what I mean? So the more kind of base items we get, the better. And this Ender Crafter is a little bit slow anyway, so we can just let that run for a bit while we're waiting for some other stuff like the gas tiers. So we'll get those tier 1, we'll get the base crafting seeds, then the tier 1, then the tier 2, and then the specific tier 2s. It's a lot of work. I don't know how much of mystical agriculture wants to be like automated, or if you want to just get like a few seeds via batch crafting and then just plant them, and then you get like tons of resources, like 3,000. It's appreciable, and I just octupled our output rate of those as well. So I think that's going to be pretty okay. Oh, I actually also want, because for the aerogel, we also need ice essence, which we could have made the ice seeds before, but we actually didn't. So we are going to need to craft those as well. Pretty easy to do, though. They're tier 1, so even easier than the other ones. Anyway, I think that that's going to be a pretty good place to end it. There's just a lot of sort of busy work that I need to do before the next episode, which I am totally ready and willing to do. It's fine. But yeah, not much else to see here. I'm going to need to find a sapling to plant here that's going to give us some more living woodable logs. The Divine RPG saplings I don't think can be planted in the overworld, so I'm going to have to find one that works. But I'm sure I'll be able to, and then we'll just get a bunch of stacks of it. Way more than we'll ever know what to do with. I also did make some world block exporters, so, you know, using a situation like something like this, and then we'll just configure them to only break the outputs and only place the inputs, and we can get the Pure Daisy stuff automated too. I don't know how to do that on like a large scale, except for, I guess, making a ton of these, and then as long as they're all connected to the same inventory, it should work fine. I guess that maybe seems like too much work. For now, I'm fine to just have one at a time going, and we can scale it up in the future if and when it becomes necessary. But anyway, yeah, so I got lots of work to do. But as for you, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Yeah, for now, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.